Time to give some love to BCHG because I've been talking about LTCN so much and why we should buy LTCN. I'm also going to make a video today about BCHG and the history of BCH and all that stuff and relative to how can BCHG hit $100. So let's talk about the BCHG potential. So once again, I'm going to go over the NAV and the market price. So currently, if you look up on the Grayscale website, they said that as of today, the NAV of BCHG is $4.58. And you can figure that out by taking the price of BCH, which is around $450, and you multiply it by 0.0083, you should get $4.58. But the market price, which is BCH at a premium, either a positive premium or a negative, then that's how you would figure out the premium of BCHG. So the current price of BCHG as of today is $4.19. So if you were to subtract the NAV, $4.58, by $4.19, that's approximately 39.40, right? And 39.40, the difference is about 9 to 10%. So our market price right now is actually about 10% under the BCH NAV. That means it's still on sale. We are not in premium territory yet. So in order for us to figure out the BCH asset under management, that's the NAV price, right? So you take the NAV price of BCH, which is $4.58, and you multiply it by the total amount of shares. And if you all want to know the total amount of shares, all you need to do is just go on the Grayscale website and click on BCHG and click on the fact sheet or the data sheet, the performance data. It'll show you basically the market price. They'll show you the current price. They'll show you like the shares. So when I looked up the shares, it's been 47 million shares, 123,300 shares, right? So I multiply that by $4.58, and I get 250,824,704, which is the AUM. Okay, that's not the market price, but that's AUM currently. So basically, the market price is actually cheaper or less than the AUM. Remember, like about 10%. So if you're going to take about 10% away from $215 million, you'll minus this by about $21.5 million, right? So this is just, I'm going to digress because I want to talk about Grayscale and when was the last time they actually added shares. So we've always had this $47 million shares for the last 4 months. Because the last time they added shares was in April. And the previous amount of shares is right here, which is 46,674,400 shares. So basically, they created 448,900 shares, right? And most likely, they created it because they had PP buyers. Because the PP buyers saw a cheap price. Like this was an all-time low, right? Because the BCH NAV was at $2.25 and the BCH market price was at $2.73. So there was a 20% premium and approximately 50 cents, right? Like a 20% premium. So the PP got a sale price. So that means they got a cheaper price, a 20% sale. So they started buying in about 500,000 shares of like $2.25. So someone basically put down like $1 million or whatever, right? A little over $1 million to buy these shares. So Grayscale goes out to buy more BCH in order to produce more shares of BCHG for the PP, which was in April. So you notice there's almost half a million shares that were bought in April, so they had to hold it for 6 months. So basically, in 6 months, which is October, they are allowed to sell, right? And let me talk about October. So let's say if today they were able to sell their shares, right? And BCHG hits $5, they would make double their profit. Their 1 million turns into $2 million. Just think about that. And it's not even October yet. Because everyone is expecting like a downturn in September, and then October is when everything goes crazy, right? Because it's following the history of the cycle of BTC. So they understand that because they're crypto investors, right? So they're putting a certain amount because right now they're probably playing around with Bitcoin and Ethereum, like IBIT, Ethu, and all that stuff, and then they're gonna take that profit from whatever while their shares of BCHG is still in there. You see what I mean? So they're just playing with house money. So now I digress. I'm gonna go back to BCHG for us, right? What it means for us. So right now, the asset under management is approximately $216 million. Remember? So if I minus about, $21 million, what do I get? Because 10%, right? Because the market cap is actually 10% under AUM. So I took the exact current price at 419, which is MC represents market cap. So $4.19 times by 47,123,300 shares would equal to $197,000,000 $446,627, which is the market price. Can you imagine if BCHG goes 10 times from this price right here, from this market price? It would be over $40. So all I had to do is just take the market cap price, multiply it by 10. It's $1.97 billion. So let's just say how like all the BTC whales are taking profit. That's why BCT is dropping right now. So they're taking profit because they're going to be ready for alt season. I'm not saying that they're going to put it all into BCH or LTC. Obviously, they're going to put into like some Doge, Ton, Solana, all that stuff, right? Just to get those profits, and then they're going to rotate because they have been rotating. So basically, everyone is saying that the top 20 market cap coins should receive all of this rotational money. And I'm pretty sure profit takers will take away like over $1 trillion. And then they're just going to slowly flood it and rotate it into all these other coins. So BCH and LTC should get some. So that's why I'm going to talk about BCH. Let's just say if these investors decide to put money into BCH. So BCH right now is 545 times 20 million shares, which equals to about $11 billion in market cap. Can you imagine if the market cap for BCH increases double, right? Let's say another $11 billion. Then the price of BCH would be $1,100 approximately. So the NAV price of BCHG would be $9.13. Here's the crazy part. We have to somehow convince people that are putting money into BCH not to put money into BCH, but to put it into BCHG. This is why you have to make these kind of videos, or you have to share these videos for people to understand how much more money they can make. Instead of putting money into BCH, they can put it into BCHG. Because remember when I said $11 billion? Imagine if those investors didn't put $11 billion into BCH, but they put into BCHG instead. So now BCHG is going to run on premium, right? Whereas BCH could still be at like $700, $800. But the premium BCHG will be like 20 times, 30 times, 40 times BCH. Because that's what happened the previous cycle, right? When LTCN was like 50 times the premium of LTC. Because that's what people were doing. They were putting money into LTCN because they see the potential of the multiplication of LTCN and BCHG as compared to BCH and LTC. That's why people need to be aware. So let's do the math. Can you imagine if BCHG had an $11 million market cap? Because right now, BCHG is only at a $200 million market cap. So remember how I did the math and I said BCHG at $2 billion in market cap was already a little over $40. So imagine $10 billion. Instead of investors putting money into BCHG, like the $10 billion to double up on BCH, right, to make double their profit, if they put $10 billion into BCHG, the freaking thing can go from $5 to $200 in $10 billion. Think about it. From $5 to $200. How much is that? That is 40 times premium. This is why we have to get the word out there about BCHG and the potential. Why should we buy BCHG right now instead of BCH? After you make the profit from BCHG, you can just put it back into BCH. Who cares? And let it run. See, like people like, for example, like Caesar, right? He's telling us to buy BCH because BCH will never go under 300 again or 400 again. And he's just thinking long term, right? Like 10 years from now, he's thinking like BCH can be at like $10,000, which is super cool. That means it had multiply, times by 20, right? But why do you have to wait like 5-10 years from now for it to multiply by 20 when you can do it in the matter of months? You can just take all that money, all that BCH money right now that you have and shove it into BCHG and make 20 to 40 times as much. And then if you want now, you can put money into BCH. Who cares, right? Because BCHG can still run on a premium and there's not even an ETF application for it. This is why BCHG can be a beast. LTCN in its own right can also be a beast as well too, but we have to convince people and let them know, especially anyone that has a channel that talks about BCH. You go in there and you make a comment and you say, watch this guy's video, Dan Inspiration. He knows what he's talking about. And I know what I'm talking about because everything here makes complete sense. And if anyone has common sense, they will see my video and be like, wow, that's a great idea. You cannot lose on this, right? There's no ETF approval and you just pump the heck out of BCHG and then you just sell it, right? At a certain point, of your own liking. But I'm just saying, this is why we should hold on to LTCN and BCHG, because all these PP, they know the rotation, they know the cycle, they're confident in their cycle, and they know that they can't lose money because they literally bought 500,000 shares of BCHG at $2.25. So they don't care, right? But as for us, obviously we bought it at a higher price. But now we need to give the facts of what I just talked about to BCH holders and LTC holders. I'll probably make another video about LTC in a similar fashion as BCHG about the market cap and all that stuff. And like, if you were to trim your profits from LTC and shove it into LTCN, how much more money can you make? So with that said, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please like it. Please share it. I mean, post it on X, post it on Instagram, post a little clip of it. Maybe you can take my little clip, make it into your own rendition, and then just put it as a short. Well, maybe I can just make a short about it, like a 1 minute short. So, but this is the longer video. So yeah, I'm probably gonna make like a 1 minute short in explaining, why we should put BCH money into BCHG to get like 40 times. All right, so I'm gonna leave it as that, and wish you guys well, and definitely like, subscribe. This is not financial advice, but it is solid reasoning for you to understand the potential of BCHG.